The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 131. Jingwang felt shocked and a tremendous tumult in his heart. He didn't know why Xiaoyu would end up in the sixth prince's hands. However, he needed to take Xiaoyu back as soon as possible and save the emperor at the same time. Jingwang had previously taken note of the distribution of the guards inside the hall. Now, he already had a plan. I know that fifth elder brother cares about this fish very much and really wants to take this fish back. However, I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Mu Tianxiao continued to fiddle and play with the gold chain on the crystal bottle, smiling like a victor and looking down at Jingwang with contempt. However, seeing how fifth elder brother had helped me into imperial prison before, I am also willing to help you back. If fifth elder brother can experience all of the suffering I had experienced inside the imperial prison as well, who knows, maybe I might be lenient and return this fish back to you. The sixth prince opened his mouth wide and grinned, as if even he was touched deeply by his own sincerity. Jingwang. Liu was also speechlessly as he listened to the sixth prince's words. Liu was very indignant. However, his fish fins were too short. He couldn't make a middle finger with it. You trash Mu Tianxiao, how dare you use me to threaten my hubby? Liu was only afraid that Jingwang might take it seriously and really end up doing what the sixth prince said. Liu. He didn't want his hubby to get bullied. Someone like the sixth prince definitely couldn't be trusted. This wouldn't do. Fish must save hubby. Liu flattened his fish body and targeted his tail angrily at the sixth prince. Tianxiao, it's only a fish. You don't need to trouble him. The emperor really couldn't take it anymore and scolded the sixth prince lightly. The sixth prince didn't even look up and replied sarcastically, as imperial father said, it's only a fish. If fifth elder brother doesn't pay any attention to my words, what can I do to him? Imperial father, I know you're biased. Yet you're not even willing to let him feel this little injustice. The emperor was angry at the sixth prince's attitude but was also afraid to make things worse for Jingwang. He could only stop talking. The sixth prince looked towards Jingwang leisurely again, please decide quickly, fifth elder brother. Or else my mood might go bad and who knows, I might change my mind. Jingwang already confirmed that the emperor was being coerced by concubine Zhang. The sixth prince was also threatening him with Xiaoyu. Jingwang pressed his lips together, gaze ice cold. He reached his hand to the bottom of his robe and slightly bent his knees. This movement made him look like he was about to kneel. The sixth prince was extremely pleased and laughed smugly. Because normally Jingwang wouldn't even allow him to have a second glance of the fish inside this crystal bottle, the sixth prince deliberately wanted to infuriate Jingwang. Therefore, he opened the cover of the bottle and reached his fingers towards the fish's soft tail. He wanted Jingwang to experience personally that everything was under his control now. Even Jingwang's favorite pet fish needed to listen to him and endure whatever he wanted to do with it. However, just as his fingers were about to touch the fish, a change occurred abruptly. This fish forcibly jumped and actually broke through the crystal bottle. With wide eyes, the sixth prince watched this fish fly up and immediately thought the scene seemed like a déjà vu. However, there was no time. One silver light wrapped up in a strong gust of wind later, the sixth prince had no time to react and he was already slapped firmly across the face by something that felt hard as steel. Instantly, he saw stars exploding before his eyes. The sixth prince held his sharply throbbing face in shock. He was finally able to see clearly that, not only did Jingwang's fish break free from the crystal bottle unexpectedly, it even dared to slap him vigorously and while using that seemingly harmless and soft-looking fish tail. After one swing, the fish didn't actually stop. It was still flailing in midair. Taking advantage of the sixth prince's distraction, this fish used an unavoidable lightning speed to slap him a second time. Ganqing Palace was originally very quiet. After 2 clear, crisp pak-pak sounds later, the 6th prince's cheeks started swelling immediately to the naked eye. Everyone present all heard and saw this. For some reason, the 6th prince had been slapped in the face by a fish. Concubine Zhang furrowed her brows. The emperor desperately controlled himself to not let the corners of his mouth curve upwards. The Marquis of An, who was slightly further away, also saw this. The Marquis of An's befuddled mind had a slight impression of this scene. He actually started clapping and saying with a laugh, "Good slap. Well done." Just as the 6th prince was about to curse, a figure flashed in front of him. The 6th prince knew that things were not good. It turned out that when the fish broke out of the bottle, Jingwang had pulled out a sharp dagger from his boot and successively stabbed several nearby guards. The 6th prince was still immersed in his anger and disbelief from being slapped by a fish, but Jingwang had already placed the dagger against his throat. This was a testament to Jingwang's skills. Right in front of everyone, the 6th prince actually fell under his control. What do you plan to do?" Mu Tianxiao swallowed his saliva. The cold, dangerous glint of the dagger made him utterly terrified. He was capable of mercilessly wrapping a chain around his own wife's throat. Yet having a dagger pressed against his neck was enough to scare him so much that his legs turned weak. However, who wouldn't be scared in this kind of situation? Jingwang held the dagger and pressed it against the 6th prince's throat with one hand. With his other hand, he caught the fish that was still flailing in midair and hid it behind his sleeve. Li Yu knew that the emperor was being threatened. Jingwang needed an opportunity. He himself was also unable to stand being touched by the 6th prince. Therefore, why not just create an unimaginable chaos himself? Jingwang often cleaned up after his previous messes. He wasn't unfamiliar with Li Yu's method of doing things. Before Li Yu broke out of the bottle, he also saw Jingwang move slightly, as if he was about to act. Li Yu needed to distract the 6th prince's attention from Jingwang. Li Yu glanced around and found an area on the ground with a thick heavy rug ahead of time. When he jumped out, he headed towards the direction of the rug, doing his best to protect his belly. Originally he had planned to land on the rug after slapping the 6th prince twice. Jingwang had a hidden weapon on him. He would definitely seize this opportunity. Li Yu could take the chance to randomly jump into a corner somewhere and pull out some of the fresh water from his portable storage space. Fortunately, he also kept a crystal bottle and fish tank in his portable storage space. The rest of the space was all filled with fresh water. Currently, the crystal bottle he was taken in with was already broken. However, he still had a fish tank present. He could take out the fish tank. As long as he hid in the fish tank, he would be temporarily safe. Not out of Li Yu's expectations, he and Jingwang's hearts were connected. Jingwang was able to take control of the chance that he had desperately created. Not only did Jingwang use a dagger to seize the 6th prince, he also caught fish. Delighted, Li Yu wrapped his tail tightly around Jingwang's fingers. Although it was a crucial moment between life and death, Jingwang still used his thumb to gently caress fish's head. Jingwang used his body and sleeve to block the view. Li Yu seized the moment to pull out the fish tank and hop into it. His heart still pounded in the aftermath, but thank heavens, hubby was fine. The little sweetie pie was also fine. Yay! Fish did it? Jingwang, just what exactly do you plan to do? The 6th prince was extremely terrified, yelling and screaming non-stop. Jingwang glanced past the 6th prince and looked at concubine Zhang in the eye with his ice-like gaze. Release father. Jingwang said in a heavy voice. The 6th prince was concubine Zhang's son. Since concubine Zhang could use the emperor as hostage, Jingwang naturally could also use the 6th prince as hostage to negotiate with concubine Zhang. Hearing Jingwang's hoarse voice, the 6th prince was briefly stunned. He glanced towards Jingwang with fear and trepidation. Wasn't Jingwang a naturally born mute? Why could he suddenly speak? Everyone in Ganqing Palace all heard Jingwang talk out loud. They all turned pale in shock. So, Jingwang's muteness was actually cured. The people at Ganqing Palace were all concubine Zhang's subordinates. The concubines were actually all seized as hostages by concubine Zhang as well. If Jingwang were able to save the emperor, the concubines would be pretty happy with that outcome. They secretly prayed for everything to go smoothly for Jingwang. The eighth prince's gaze was burning. He was a child. His line of sight was not the same as everyone else. Jingwang was in control of the sixth prince. However, the eighth prince's eyes were only on the fish tank that was blocked behind Jingwang. He didn't know where the fish tank came from. However, the fish that just slapped the sixth prince in the face must have fallen inside the fish tank. If fifth elder brother and sixth elder brother started fighting, what about the fish? The eighth prince really wanted to help Jingwang. Ignoring his mother, concubine Lu's repeated warning, he bent down and secretly ran over there. Grabbing the fish tank, he ran back again. Because he was small in stature and was just a child, no one was able to stop him in that moment. Jingwang. The eighth prince was hugging the fish tank without letting go. Jingwang decided he really needed to view this little brother in a new appreciative light. Now Jingwang had nothing to worry about. He looked towards concubine Zhang and then said again, "Release father." The dagger pressed more firmly against the sixth prince's throat. A stream of bright red blood poured out. The sixth prince instantly yelled out in pain, "Mother, save me quickly." The sixth prince was very afraid that Jingwang was going to kill him and hoped concubine Zhang would save him. However, concubine Zhang only had a dark expression on her face and remained silent. The sixth prince gradually started to feel unease in his heart. He had suddenly been released out from the imperial prison. The person who freed him had told him that his mother, concubine Zhang, had gained power. At first, Mu Tianxiao didn't believe it. However, when he saw concubine Zhang sitting comfortably next to the emperor's side with his own eyes, while the emperor held a loathing but helpless expression, Mu Tianxiao had no choice but to believe it. This mother was no longer the completely useless, meek, and obedient woman that he had disdained in his memories. Mu Tianxiao didn't know when this change had occurred. However, he was very thankful for this change. He was Madame Zhang's son. Since concubine Zhang controlled the emperor, she was definitely going to help him seize the throne. All he needed to do was sit back and wait for his prize. However, there was only one thing that the sixth prince didn't really understand. Concubine Zhang had hidden herself this deeply without revealing anything. Why did she still refuse to help him when he was scheming for the throne? Or perhaps, this was all part of concubine Zhang's grand scheme. Seeing how he had fallen for Jingwang's schemes from the very beginning, seeing how the emperor was already biased towards Jingwang, it was basically impossible for his original plans to have succeeded. The only choice was to save a trump card for the last critical moment. Just when the emperor and Jingwang had thought that he had failed completely. Then concubine Zhang would have a chance to act and destroy them with one strike. The sixth prince had considered this carefully again. Actually, even though concubine Zhang had feigned ignorance and he didn't notice it at all of his subordinates had originally come from concubine Zhang. It's not that concubine Zhang didn't help him. However, for the sake of victory, she had to hide even from him. With the thoughts above, Mu Tianxiao did his best to convince himself to accept the fact that concubine Zhang had possibly prepared for all of this to happen. He had made all of these excuses for concubine Zhang. However, concubine Zhang never actually said anything to him, not even one sentence of explanation. Mu Tianxiao grew apprehensive of this mother of his, who had managed to successfully trick even the emperor himself and didn't dare to ask too much. In other words, as long as he was freed and could ascend the throne in the end, what couldn't he accept? But right now, Jingwang was holding him hostage in order to threaten concubine Zhang in return. Yet concubine Zhang was unresponsive to his pleas for help. This made Mu Tianxiao strangely start to panic. Although he still called the current concubine Zhang, mother, he actually couldn't figure her out at all. Your Highness Jingwang, concubine Zhang, who had been silent all this time, suddenly smiled. Why would you think I would negotiate with you? You only have a prince in your hands, while in my hands, I have the ruler of the nation. Concubine Zhang lightly clapped her hand. A hidden archer inside the main hall of Ganqing Palace immediately shot out an arrow. Without any warning at all, the sixth prince was hit by the arrow, blood spurting out of his chest. The sixth prince's eyes widened as he looked at his own injury. This was a cruel arrow, sent out under his mother's order. Mother, you. He called strenuously in the end and then pitched over head first. No one in Ganqing Palace had expected concubine Zhang would kill even her own son. Instantly, everyone felt like they were all in peril and trembled all over. Even vicious tigers do not eat their young. Why did you kill Tianxiao? The emperor couldn't believe it. Even though the sixth prince had once attempted to kill him, the emperor never thought about killing him. However, concubine Zhang, in order to avoid being dragged down, easily exterminated the captured sixth prince. The emperor was no match for the ruthlessness of this woman's actions. Even vicious tigers do not eat their young? That's just one life. You eradicated the whole of Lulan. 100,000 peasants lost their lives. Aren't you far more malicious than a tiger? Concubine Zhang chuckled. What she received in return was only the emperor's furious glare. Hearing concubine Zhang's words, Jingwang faintly furrowed his brows and asked probingly, "You're from Lulan? Are you concubine Mei?" "That's right." Concubine Zhang admitted it without hesitation. She had hidden for half of her life. Now there was no reason to hide anymore. She reached up and wiped her face, pulling off a thin layer of skin. Concubine Zhang was originally born from a family of servants. Her skin was slightly dark, with an honest face. However, after the face mask was removed, a deathly pale-skinned and beautiful countenance was revealed that was obviously not concubine Zhang's face. "I am royal concubine Mei," she said. "However, I don't personally like this title. I am the daughter of the king of Lulan. You can call me Princess Lanja." Previously, Li Yu had already speculated with Jingwang that the force constantly trying to assassinate Jingwang and had poisoned Jingwang was somehow related to Lulan and to concubine Mei. However, the reality was that concubine Mei, who should have already died, turned up to be still alive. She was actually the leader of this force and had been hiding inside the imperial palace all of these years as the sixth prince's mother, surviving using the identity of the transparent and humble concubine Zhang. The reason for her existence was probably just for this moment, to get revenge on the emperor. Then just how did concubine Mei, who was Princess Lanja, became concubine Zhang? End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 132. After learning that the concubine Zhang before them was a fake, all of the other concubines said to themselves that it was no wonder. Concubine Zhang was normally a quail. How could she be so vicious to even kill the sixth prince? This was really exceeding their expectations. But then this person was actually a fake. They were also worried that since this person had treated the sixth prince like that, how would she treat them? With victory within her grasp, Princess Lanja felt pretty good and said with a smile, "Are you perhaps thinking that I had taken advantage of a good moment to impersonate concubine Zhang and imprison the emperor?" The concubines didn't dare to nod their heads, but they, including the emperor and Jingwang as well, had all thought it was like this. Princess Lanja said smugly, "Actually concubine Zhang died a long time ago. Back then, it was only 3 days since I entered the imperial palace when I attempted to assassinate the emperor. I was discovered and the emperor sentenced me to death. Empress Xiaohui had ordered someone to bring me the poisoned wine. The person who brought the wine to me just happened to be the maidservant from Changchun Palace, concubine Zhang. That despicable maidservant looked timid and afraid outwardly, but she was actually someone who bullied the weak and was only afraid of the strong. She actually wanted to take advantage of my misfortune to steal away my jeweled crown. That was the last of my dignity. I was so furious, I used a bracelet as bait and took her life instead. Originally, I could have disregarded everything and left the imperial palace and go wherever I wanted. I was someone who had experienced life and death at that point and should have let go of worldly affairs. However, I really couldn't accept it. Princess Langya loudly recounted her hatred and grudges during these years. The fact that her hands were covered with fresh blood made her tremble with excitement. How come the person who had made me suffer so much could sit firmly as ruler of a nation, living happily and sleeping soundly? Why do I, the legitimate daughter of a king, have to force on a smile and bear children for my enemy? I didn't want to yield and fawn for favor. You eradicated Lulan and stole away my everything. Why should I allow you to rule your nation so easily? Princess Langya glanced at the emperor and gave a laugh of contempt. Your Majesty, since ancient times, there's a saying that said, what goes around comes around. This is only fair. Concubine Zhang died in my hands. No one knew this. Then I started thinking perhaps I could substitute for her. I once had a loyal subject close to me that was good at changing their appearance. Therefore, I learned how to change my appearance when I was in Lulan. I changed my face and became concubine Zhang, then served by Empress Xiao Hui's side. She didn't notice anything at all. What an utter fool. Princess Langya gave a profound smile. She actually knew how to change her face. This was the crux of her impersonation of concubine Zhang. It was also something that Li Yu had never thought about. So after all the twists and turns, this world really did have a skill like face sculpting. After finally learning that concubine Zhang had been replaced a long time ago, the emperor was so angry his insides hurt. Returning from his thoughts, he asked accusingly, so, it was you who poisoned my children with Xiao Hui? The emperor had ordered Luo Ruisheng to investigate the real cause of death of the first prince and the fourth prince. However, he had lost contact with Luo Ruisheng for many days already. Because the emperor had been imprisoned by concubine Zhang in the last few days, he deduced from this that Luo Ruisheng had probably been captured as well. Since Princess Langya had deliberately impersonated concubine Zhang for so long with malicious intentions, and the emperor had already been suspicious of the first prince and fourth prince's deaths, he was feeling hot-headed and blurted this question out. Princess Langya said with a cold smile, the first prince's life was short. It had nothing to do with me. However, his death helped me find a good way to torment you. The death of the fourth prince and the poisoning of Jingwang were indeed because of me. Pulu and concubine Zhang were working together inside Changchun Palace. She had trusted concubine Zhang quite a bit. As the prince's wet nurse, she had to drink nutrients every day according to the imperial physician's orders. I looked through the prescription of what she was drinking and learned that there was ginseng inside. Therefore, I quietly placed a secret Lulan drug into her tea. Li Yu was just hiding inside the fish tank, eavesdropping right out in the open. Upon hearing a secret Lulan drug, he suddenly flicked his fin, thinking that Lulan had snowy mountains. This secret drug should be the snow crow, which could only be found on snowy mountains. Princess Langya had mentioned the fourth prince. Did the fourth prince also die because of snow crow? Sure enough, Princess Langya said, this secret drug was originally a strong supplement. However, if it's mixed with ginseng, it would become poisonous. Because a prince wouldn't have only one wet nurse and the schedule of feedings can change. I built a good relationship with Pulu and figured out when she was on duty. Every time she was on duty, I would feed her the drug. When she's off work and resting, I would give her the antidote. The poison from this secret drug does not have an immediate effect. Pulu was fine. The fourth prince wasn't quite so fortunate. However, since the poison was given through breast milk, the effect was slower. Nevertheless, the fourth prince didn't end up living for many days. Everyone all said that he had a frail body and poor health. I was the only one aware that he had actually died of poison. Princess Langya looked towards the emperor, her tone containing unrestrained joy. Watching you suffering several times by the death of your child gave me such satisfaction from achieving my revenge. Empress Xuěshān felt so regretful about letting you down. Therefore, I persuaded her to have another child and use this to torment you again. I thought giving poison through Pulu all the time was too troublesome. Empress Xuěshān's nutritional tea also had ginseng, so I just did what I did before, to try to make this unborn child die in her stomach. However, he was very tenacious. Princess Langya suddenly glanced towards Jingwang. This child was clearly Jingwang. Princess Langya continued to say, I originally bribed the imperial physician and midwives, wanting them to act while Empress Xuěshān was giving birth. However, I unexpectedly discovered that because this child was poisoned, he was born mute. The emperor and Empress Xuěshān had wished for a son for so long. A mute son would probably only torment the emperor even more and not less. Therefore, I decided to keep him alive for a few days longer and let him be like the fourth prince, dying slowly due to poor health. However, later on Pulu had discovered the secret drug. Thus I had told her that she was also responsible for the fourth prince's death, that she had already unknowingly become my accomplice. I also threatened her with the lives of her family members, forcing her to have no choice but to take the secret drug and once again poison the fifth prince through breastfeeding. However, her conscience ultimately couldn't take it. She wanted to arouse the emperor and Empress Xuěshān's vigilance but ended up being banished from the imperial palace and dying from the effects of poison. Her family also died tragically after her. This was the result of her lack of appreciation for my kindness. Nevertheless, because of this, the fifth prince was moved out of Changchun Palace. The emperor appointed him with a new wet nurse, so I couldn't do anything more at that time. Princess Langya's words terrified everyone who was present. So, this was the reason for Jingwang's disability. Meanwhile Pulu, who Li Yu had originally believed to be the culprit for poisoning Jingwang's, was actually only a person with a very unfortunate life. No wonder. That's why she did her best to leave a clue inside the cloth tiger doll that she had made for Jingwang. She had hoped that Jingwang would discover it in the future and use it to treat his poison. Li Yu finally knew the truth behind all of this and felt extremely sorry for Jingwang. Jingwang's muteness actually turned out to be a shield that had saved his life. Just what kind of malicious heart would commit such evil crimes? Li Yu only regretted that he was too far away from Princess Langya. He had slapped the bastard sixth prince but didn't have a chance to give a hard slap to the utterly deranged princess as well. Princess Langya had committed such numerous crimes. Yet she continued to say with a smile, the fifth prince was born mute. Empress Xuěshān was in such agony she wished she were dead. Therefore, I gave her a hand, so that she wouldn't feel too sad anymore. The emperor couldn't take the sharp pain, feeling like a knife was being twisted in his heart. Who'd have imagined that Xuěshān was also murdered by you? So what? Princess Langya proudly raised her chin. After the incident with Empress Xuěshān, I came up with another way to take my revenge. Losing your wife and child was not enough. Only when I made you lost your country can I appease the hatred in my heart. When you entered Chang'an Palace to mourn Princess Xuěshān, I made you drink wine laced with drugs, deliberately making you thought you had already favored me. After that, I became an imperial concubine again, so it was only natural that I would have an heir. I found a child with the bloodline of the royal family of Lulan and made him the sixth prince. As long as he ascended the throne in the future, this realm would eventually belong to Lulan. I was originally worried that the flaws in my plans would be discovered. However, because you had no feelings towards concubine Zhang and only sat briefly whenever you visited Yongfu Palace, you never discovered the secret at all. All of these years, I did my best to impersonate concubine Zhang. Even Mu Tianxiao, my nominal son, didn't know anything. However, the only issue was that he was not very reliable and couldn't even compete with a mute. Since he was defeated by Jingwang, then forget him. Princess Langya looked directly at the emperor and said in a heavy voice, "With my current position, I can make you abdicate your throne directly to me, so why shouldn't I?" Liu, who was listening from the side, jolted up like he had just woken up from a dream. Oh fuck. Everyone thought that this princess wanted to put the sixth prince on the throne. Who could have imagined that after listening to the end of this speech, she actually wanted to become the female emperor herself? The sixth prince was also not even the emperor's son but was instead, a disposable puppet. Villains all have an issue of talking too much. Princess Langya couldn't have lied about any of that at this point. Besides, she didn't have any reason to lie anymore. Abruptly hearing several truths, the emperor was furious and heartbroken. He didn't actually respond to Princess Langya's blatant coercion. Princess Langya also didn't care how the emperor would respond. Having unburdened all of her feelings in one breath, she proudly regarded everyone who was present, gaze landing on Jingwang. She gave Jingwang a slight smile and said, "Although I never expected you to be cured of your muteness, you must have figured out the snow crow. However, in the end, you were still one step too late. I was even quicker than you and put the emperor under my control. In these years, you have always been like a fish that had escaped the net. Although I couldn't manage to take your life, in the end, I was still one step ahead of you. Now you have no chess piece to threaten me. What can you possibly do about me?" Jingwang mumbled to himself for a moment, then glanced at the fish tank that the eighth prince was protecting with his body. Relaxing his hand, he let his dagger fall to the ground. Liu knew that Jingwang was looking at him. According to Jingwang's original plan, he was going to use the sixth prince as a hostage and force concubine Zhang to exchange the emperor with him. This was originally the best plan. However, the fact that concubine Zhang's real identity was Princess Langya and didn't care about the sixth prince at all. The sixth prince wasn't a good enough bargaining chip. Jingwang had captured the sixth prince. Then Princess Langya sent the sixth prince to the afterlife. Even in death, the sixth prince didn't know anything. In his whole life, he had used so many people, but actually, he was the one who had been exploited the most. How hilarious! How sad! He had planned to frame the eighth prince and De Bao for not being of royal blood but didn't even know that he was the one with the impure bloodline. Meanwhile, Princess Langya had focused wholeheartedly on toppling the emperor. She had denounced the emperor for his abuse of human lives, but hasn't she harmed countless innocents herself as well? Empress Xiaohui, the fourth prince, Pulu, Jingwang, even the fallen sixth prince. She hated the emperor, and with good reason too. However, didn't the other people also become sacrificial lambs for her revenge? She made it sound as if what she did was justified, but in the end, it was only to satisfy her selfishness. Now that Jingwang lost his bargaining chip, it was impossible for his original plan to work. He had released his weapon and was waiting to be captured. It was also because he was afraid of implicating Liu. The look that he had tossed over held 1,000 unspoken words. Liu understood them all. Princess Langya ordered people to come over and take Jingwang and the emperor away together. The eighth prince picked up the fish tank on his own and stood next to Jingwang. "I'll give you one more day to think this through. If you're smart, then abdicate quickly. Or else I could also have someone else replace you." Princess Langya urged the emperor with a stern voice. The emperor felt a chill in his heart. Jingwang shook his head slightly at the emperor. Although Princess Langya could change her face, she couldn't impersonate the emperor so easily. She also couldn't pretend to have the royal bloodline. If Prince Li and the royal clan joined forces and questioned this, Princess Langya's puppet would be exposed easily. That's why she needed the emperor to abdicate willingly. No matter how unreasonable transferring the throne to an irrelevant woman was, as long as the emperor said it from his own mouth, It could be justified. If Princess Langya wanted to ascend the throne legitimately, this was the only way. If the emperor agreed to be exploited like this, the only path left for him would be death. If Princess Langya changed her mind and pushed the other two little princes onto the throne, it would be extremely disadvantageous towards the emperor. However, since she hated the emperor and hated the emperor's bloodline, she should be reluctant to take this step. Therefore, even though they were all prisoners at the moment, they were still temporarily safe. The emperor also knew these crucial facts. After they were separated from the concubines and taken to the side hall with guards standing in position outside, the emperor said dispiritedly, "Tianqi, Zhen was too careless." When Li Yu had asked Zhen if the harem had any foreigners, Zhen immediately recalled concubine Mei. In this emperor's whole life, Zhen only accepted this one foreign concubine. At that time, Zhen wanted to search for clues at Luoxiao Palace where concubine Mei had once lived. Unexpectedly, Zhen encountered concubine Zhang along the way. In a moment of carelessness, Zhen fell into concubine Zhang's hands. Zhen had never even imagined that she was actually concubine Mei. She was the one who had used Zhen's name to summon you all into the palace, planning to capture everyone all at once. In the end, Zhen was the one who caused trouble for you. The emperor had an extremely mournful expression. After learning the truth behind Empress Yao Hui and the fourth prince's death and the reason for Jing Wang's poisoning, the emperor only regretted not annihilating Lulan completely from the start. The two nations were hostile towards each other. The king of Lulan had once vowed to fight all the way to the imperial capital. At that time, the emperor was young and full of vigor. How could he allow King Chang'an to rave such nonsense? The two nations waged war. If he had been defeated in a fair and upright manner and died on the battlefield, he would have nothing to say. However, in the end, the one who lost was King Chang'an. When King Chang'an had arrived at the imperial capital to present his daughter, the emperor really believed everything had ended. Who would have thought that the presented Princess Lanja was actually the true beginning of all evils? At that time, the emperor wasn't really particularly interested in Princess Lanja. He only gave her a title to placate the former Lulan citizens. Back then, he had planned to treat her the same as his other concubines. However, after Princess Langya entered the imperial palace, she was focused solely on assassinating him. He knew that he couldn't keep this woman. Therefore, he had unhesitatingly sentenced her to death. He never even investigated the people that survived behind this woman. To be honest, it was ultimately because he had underestimated his enemy and also because his enemy was too cunning. The emperor was extremely regretful of his past actions. Jingwang extended a hand and lightly patted him on the shoulder. "Save your sorrow, father. This is not the end." Jingwang said quickly, "If I may be so bold as to ask for an imperial edict to summon troops for rescue." Ultimately, the emperor was someone who had experienced great tumult before. He quickly pulled himself together. Jingwang mentioned an imperial edict to summon troops for rescue. Of course the emperor knew what this meant. Wanting him to write a summon edict was not hard, however the edict must be handed to someone who was completely trustworthy. Only through this could the soldiers defending the imperial capital be gathered to besiege the imperial palace and rescue out the emperor. However, if this edict fell into the wrong hands, the result was too horrible to contemplate. "Tianqi, are you sure of this?" the emperor asked. "Yes." Jingwang responded resolutely. The emperor looked at the son of his for a long time. When he had fallen into despair and thought that it was impossible to turn the tide, Jingwang still remained calm and composed. The emperor unconsciously believed in Jingwang, that Jingwang had a plan to could save him. "Very well, Zhen, trust you," the emperor said. The emperor pulled out an emerald jade box out of his sleeve. This box was about the length of a finger and was completely empty inside. This was probably why this item still remained on the emperor at this time. The emperor directly thrown the emerald jade box on the ground and broke it into pieces. From the pieces of broken jade on the floor, half of an iron seal was revealed from where it was embedded in the jade. On the iron seal was carved the image of a ferocious tiger. This was. Jingwang was startled. This is my tiger seal. It fuses together with the tiger seal in the hands of the general guarding the city and can be used to mobilize the troops. This item was cleverly hidden. It's funny that Princess Langya had ordered people to search me all over but they still didn't find it. The emperor smiled and handed the tiger seal to Jingwang. With this seal, you can summon troops for rescue. Jingwang nodded and accepted it cautiously. The emperor asked curiously, Ganking Palace is already under the control of that woman. The security is tight. How do you plan to send the seal out? Jingwang's gaze landed on the fish tank not far away and walked towards it holding the tiger seal in his hand. Li Yu was already on the same wavelength as him. He had already raised his fish head and was waiting impatiently. Xiao Yu. Jingwang crouched down. Li Yu blew a bubble towards the direction of the tiger seal. He knew only he could leave here without anyone realizing it and bring the tiger seal to mobilize the rescue troops. Give it to fish, no problem. Li Yu wagged his tail energetically, ready to fight. Jingwang's plan was just this. However, he didn't immediately hand over the tiger seal. Instead, he placed his fingers into the water and generally stroked fish's back. Li Yu felt so comfortable that the tip of his tail trembled. After getting his back stroked, he didn't feel it was enough and even flipped over, belly side up, also letting Jingwang touch fish's stomach. There's a little sweetie pie in here, although you can't feel her yet he. Jingwang halted, reluctantly caressing fish's stomach. Everything will be fine. Li Yu knew that Jingwang was also feeling worried and hastily wrapped his tail around Jingwang's fingers while he himself went to nudge the tiger seal impatiently with his mouth. Jingwang finally nodded his head and found a string to tie the tiger seal to fish's body. Tianqi, you want this fish to deliver it? The emperor was dumbfounded. To let a fish deliver the tiger seal, wasn't this too? Father, trusting him means trusting me. Jingwang said. The emperor saw that Jingwang had a serious expression and was definitely not joking right now. Moreover, Jingwang's fish seemed very connected with humans and even knew how to slap the sixth prince's face. The emperor had seen this just now with his own eyes. The astronomy department and Liao Kong both praised this fish before. This fish should be blessed. The emperor convinced himself and accepted Jingwang's arrangement. There was a pond in the side hall of Ganking Palace that just happened to connect to the outside. People couldn't pass through it but a fish can. Jingwang picked up Li Yu and gently placed him into the water. Li Yu entered the water and gave Jingwang a flying kiss from afar. Then, he waved his tail and quickly swam away. After leaving everyone's view, Li Yu immediately kept the tiger seal into his portable storage space. Such a precious thing, express delivery fish will definitely hide it well and carry it where it needs to go. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 133. Li Yu swam swiftly through the deep parts of the water, only occasionally approaching the surface to look at his current location. The water was very safe. The patrolling guards came in wave after wave, but none of them had noticed that under the rivers next to them, under the ponds, was a fish carrying a hidden tiger seal, brushing past them fleetingly. Li Yu had originally cancelled his human form in order to change into a fish. His goal was to open communications for Jingwang and send a message for him. However, because the sixth prince had suddenly appeared, he was unexpectedly brought to Ganqing Palace. Now that he was delivering the tiger seal, it could be counted as fulfilling his wishes and making himself useful. If he could directly swim out of the imperial palace with this water route, that would be the best option. If he couldn't, then he will create a path if he has to. Jingwang, the emperor, and all of the detained people inside Ganqing Palace were all waiting and counting on him. The tiger seal was in his hands, he needed to complete the mission to his utmost. Liu swam without stopping. Some unknown time later, after he had already forgotten how many twists and turns he had made, he finally swam into a small river that was extremely close to the palace gate. He was pretty lucky. No one had discovered him all this time. However, just at this moment, a squad of guards swapped shifts and started idly watching the narrow river path, chatting and laughing. Liu slowed down his pace. This was the only water route that could exit the palace. Was he supposed to swim past right in front of the squad of guards? If he were still a small blackfish, he wouldn't have to worry about being discovered. However, he was a silver and gold koi right now. The color of his fish body was still pretty apparent under the water. Especially if he had to swim past right in front of the guards, who were for some reason looking at the surface of the water. If he accidentally got captured, then all of these efforts would go completely to waste. To be cautious, Liu first found an area with water grass and stopped there, wanting to wait until these guards left and then rush through. However, after waiting for a while, these guards didn't seem to be leaving any time soon. Liu felt a bit anxious. Suddenly he heard a quiet meow. A white cat was running nimbly towards him. Liu jumped in fright. Was he discovered by this cat? Right now he had a body full of hard and sturdy fish scales, so he wasn't actually afraid of a cat. However, he couldn't start a fight with a cat at this time. Liu was just about to hide deeper when the white cat suddenly turned and dashed towards the direction of the guards. Meow. The white cat howled loudly, grabbing all of the guards' attention. Liu. The guards. The white cat charged into the pile of guards and slammed viciously into one of the guard's legs and also gave this guard a taste of its claws. While the guard was crying in pain, the cat snatched away the money bag that the other had accidentally dropped. Having been ran over, scratched and having lost his money, the guard immediately yelled loudly and started chasing this trouble-making cat. The remaining guards all started laughing uproariously. However, since their colleague was being bullied by some unknown cat that had appeared from nowhere, they couldn't stand by and do nothing in the end. They eventually gave chase as well and left the river path they were originally guarding. Was it safe now? Liu held his breath and waited for a little while. Making certain that there really wasn't anyone present, he finally swam fast. Before he left the gate of the palace, he looked towards the direction where the cat had escaped. Although it was a white cat, its body was so filthy it was practically close to gray. Its figure wasn't as big and sturdy as when it was the master cat, however, its eyes still remained shiny and brilliant like gems. Thank you, Piao Shui, Liu thought to himself. He finally understood why the Share the Nation mission updated after he helped Piao Shui. He thought that this main mission wouldn't have anything to do with Piao Shui, but Piao Shui proved that it was a money bag worth of related to this. Although animals weren't human, they also knew how to return a favor. Liu swam out of the imperial palace with the speed of an arrow. He decided that his next stop was the Chang'an Palace. The children and Wang Shi were currently at the Chang'an Palace. The entire family of the Duke of Chang'an were all trustworthy. As long as he delivered the tiger seal into their hands and let them know what had happened inside the imperial palace, they would definitely go find the defending troops and lead the troops into the imperial palace to save the emperor. Liu had visited the Chang'an Palace several times before. He was very familiar with the location of Chang'an Palace. However, he was completely at a loss trying to head over there using the waterways. The flow of water coming out of the palace didn't actually pass through the Chang'an Palace. There was another stream of river close to Chang'an Palace estate, but the two rivers didn't intersect. Liu tried swimming over several times, but found that he was heading further and further away from Chang'an Palace. Looks like he needed to change paths. Liu jumped onto the shore and leaped several times. Although he could slide around short distances with his fish tail, it was too slow. He'd probably ran out of breath first before he even reached the other river. If he could run freely in human form, that would be great. However, he had already cancelled his human form and was unable to use it again today. The tiger seal was most important. Liu pretty much didn't think too much and changed directly into his fish human form. He rarely used this skill. The fish human form also faced the danger of not being able to breathe out of water. Also, the face was too ugly, so it wasn't as exciting during bedroom plays as the human fish form. However, it still had a pair of human legs and could run very fast. He didn't have the time to care about anything else right now. Liu pulled out a robe from his portable storage space, threw it over his head and covered the upper half of his body. Before he started having trouble breathing, he ran for his life. The sky was already dark. Liu couldn't really see clearly. Unintentionally, he bumped into a group of passers-by. Really sorry. Liu couldn't speak, so he only used his short chubby fish fins to give a wave. The group of passers-by that accidentally caught sight of a big fish head were instantly shock stiff. What's going on? Did we just see a fish running past us? So, there is a fish that had legs and can use them to run. Not long later, Liu ran to the other small river and immediately jumped in. He recovered his fish form and continued to dash forward. He finally swam to the Chang'an Palace estate. This stream of water flowed inside the estate. Liu unhesitatingly rushed inside. Chang'an Palace was completely lit up by lanterns and fires. Liu anxiously swam around inside a lotus pond. He didn't know where Xuěshān and the former Duke of Chang'an were. Suddenly, he heard a series of dog barks and his eyes lit up. It was Xiangfeng. Liu discovered that there was still hope. Not long later, Xiangfeng came running over with its tail wagging. It was holding a child-sized ball in its mouth. Suddenly, it stopped and took a hard whiff in the air. Then, it started dashing wildly towards the lotus pond where Liu was waiting. Xiangfeng. Liu jumped out of the water and onto the bank of the pond, waving his fish tail loudly for Xiangfeng to hear. Xiangfeng barked excitedly. First, it ran over and made a circle around Liu. Then it used the tip of its nose to poke at Liu, making certain that this was his old friend, the fish. Liu said, "Go find your master and bring him over here quickly." Xiangfeng couldn't understand fish speech and continued to run around fish, barking. Fortunately, it barked very loudly and was heard by Xuěshān, who was nearby. Xuěshān felt like his beloved dog seemed almost too excited and took the time to come over and have a look. Glancing from afar, he saw that the ball was left behind on the ground. Xiangfeng was currently pacing relentlessly around the side of the lotus pond, barking out continuously. Xuěshān didn't notice anything strange, however, and was just about to pick up his daughter's treasured ball and walk away. Liu couldn't let Xuěshān walk away just like this. He had already used human form and fish human form. Liu gathered his courage and changed into his human fish form and yelled, "Master Xuěshān!" Xuěshān jumped in shock at the sudden sound that appeared out of nowhere. He turned around and saw the shade of a figure inside the lotus pond. Liu had half of his body submerged inside the water as he hastily put on clothes. He hid his fish tail in the deep parts of the lotus pond. "Young Master Li. Cousin-in-law?" Xuěshān asked hesitatingly as he walked over. Liu wiped away the water drops off his face and hastily nodded his head. "It's me. Why would you appear here? Where's Tianqi?" Xuěshān asked. Wang Shi said that Jing Wang and Princess Consort Jing had entered the imperial palace, their status unknown. His family was just worrying about them. Yet Princess Consort Jing suddenly appeared out of the lotus pond of his house. This was a bit too unfathomable. Xuěshān, perhaps you feel that this is strange, however, that's not what's important at this time. Liu took a deep breath, pulled out the tiger seal from his portable storage space and held it in his palm. "I have a very, very important thing to hand over. Fish Express delivery has finally arrived at the destination." Liu told Xuěshān the truth about what was happening in the imperial palace. Ye Qinghuan immediately held onto the tiger seal tightly. Rest assured. I will go find Grandpa and the others immediately. I definitely won't let you down. We will do our best to save His Majesty and everyone else. Li Yu nodded his head. Ye Qinghuan ran 2 steps and then turned his head in confusion. Are you going to be fine staying in the water like this? Ye Qinghuan could be perceptive occasionally as well. He could feel that something seemed to be different with Li Yu this time. However, the situation inside the imperial palace was urgent. There was no time to bother with this stuff. I'm very good. It's fine. Go save His Highness quickly. Li Yu urged him to leave. Ye Qinghuan acknowledged it. Before he left, Li Yu corrected himself and said, "Can you do me a favor? Can you temporarily not allow others to come near here?" Ye Qinghuan looked towards Li Yu in confusion once again. He could pretty much confirm that Li Yu's insistence in staying inside the lotus pond was to conceal some secret. However, so what if he had a secret? Li Yu was Jingwang's wife and also his friend. He will help protect him. I promise you, I won't let anyone come close. Ye Qinghuan straightened his back and said clearly, however, I will send the children over. You probably want to see them desperately. Yes please. Li Yu really did miss the boys. Chang'an Palace was safe. After Ye Qinghuan left, Li Yu allowed himself to relax. He originally only planned to rest a little in the lotus pond as he waited for the children to come. This day was almost over. He was very much looking forward to the moment when he could turn back to his human form. However, not long afterwards, he fell asleep. He was a pregnant fish after all. Even though his fish body had protected the little sweetie pie very well, he still got tired. When he woke up again, he discovered the addition of 4 small mountains in front of him. The children were sitting in a row with their little butts facing him. The one on the leftmost was sitting very upright and proper. The one on the rightmost was falling all over the place. What were these boys doing? Fish Dad was very curious. The children couldn't maintain their silence the entire time. Not even lasting a little while, Li Yu started hearing them converse softly. Airbao and Sanbao were very worried. Daddy still didn't wake up. Sibao shook his head. Daddy is still sleeping. Dabao hastily wanted them to quiet down. Close your mouths. Quiet. Take care of Dad. Li Yu. Fish Dad felt a bit emotional from receiving protection from the boys. These fish babies really worked hard. Since an entire day had passed, the transformation skill could be used again. Li Yu quickly changed into human form and gave a heavy cough. The fish babies heard this and all turned their heads in unison, calling out delightedly Daddy. Li Yu walked onto shore and hugged the kids tightly in his arms. What's the big deal about sharing a nation? With such cute sons, he will definitely protect their home. There's no time to lose. He needed to go save the hubby immediately. End chapter.